Remember the road that will lead you home. No matter where you go, remember the road that will lead you home. That will lead you home. That will lead you home.
Come on, we can do better than that. I was speaking with a couple of people yesterday, and I won't mention names, but there's one thing that they said about what happened in this conference and what happened. It was yesterday at the dance when, if I do some calculations, I find out how many countries were involved, but we're doing the line dancing and the synchronization across, and I'm just going to say it has to be more than 15, 16, 20 countries was intense. That is unity. That is what we are about. That's what we should be doing. That was a pure example of how we can come together and work together and make Africa great. Please clap for yourselves for that. I'd like to say something else. PMI is different. I've been to several conferences in the past. You go to the conference in the morning, they give you technical talk, and you go. That's not how we do things. In Africa, again, it's not specific, it's generic. We made this conference African. The whole point of making this conference African is to make sure we're mingling amongst ourselves. We bring you here, you have lunch, we insist, and I've said it several times, insist you network. I test you. So if you haven't, I don't know what I'll do, but if you haven't, there'll be problems. Okay? Why? Because it is important that we share experiences. Okay? I said earlier in the opening that all we hear is bad or negative things about Africa. Why? Because you guys are not talking. I'm not talking. Okay? The conference was there so that we start talking about ourselves. I'll talk about the presentations. None of the presenters knew what the other was presenting. If you look through the presentations, the series, there were messages, almost all the same. We're talking about population growth. We're talking about culture. We're talking about working together. We're talking about unity. We're talking about collaboration. We all know that is what it's about. This is what this conference, and this is what PMI, through this conference, is trying to do. We need to start talking for ourselves. The more we do it, the better we can make Africa better. That's one of the things we're talking about. The concept behind, or the theme behind the conference, growth made possible, continue to be made possible, I'm going to add some more to it, by project managers. Project managers are me and you. We do it. Okay? And we're trying to promote that concept of doing it. So throughout this thing, messages have been said. And what I would like everybody here to at least go back and do one thing. How am I going to make things better for Africa? You can look at your country, because if you do it specific for your country, it is still making it better for Africa. This is not one country conference. It is 14 different countries coming together, 14 different PMI chapters to be specific, coming together. The requirements for other chapters, but it's 14 specific chapters in PMI coming together to help to make Africa great. Everybody has a part to play. Every organization has a part to play. PMI knows its path. Some other things that PMI knows the potential of Africa, and they've made changes within the organization to make sure that potential is reaped. Okay? Sunil, our president and CEO, he's from Africa, so that helps. But he specifically assigned somebody to deal with this region. All of us have to make sure that we can work with the person to make it happen. It is our responsibility now. If PMI has put a structure in place, it's for us, and I'm focusing purely on project management, because that's what we do. We know if you want to get results, you do it through what? What do projects help? Processes, principles. We've heard things about processes, principles, and people. We work with people. So that's the key thing. The other thing about PMI and the way we do things that other conferences don't do is that we have fun. Do we have fun? And when people ask, I say, fun is important because work is hard. Work is actually hard. Now, if you're only doing hard things all the time, you're going to burn yourself out. So it's important that when you work hard, you play. There are various versions of play. You can play harder, or even harder, or just play. But you must play. All work and no play. So PMI always emphasizes have fun. And then a couple of presentations said it. So it's not only PMI. We understand that when you work, you must play. So it's important that you understand how PMI conferences work, because that's what we're all about. If you look at the agenda, even though it says closing remarks, it still ends with networking. We don't want you to finish this conference and everybody goes away. We want you to continue to talk. Continue to share messages and take some messages back. That is how PMI does things, and this is how this conference wants it to be. You saw yesterday that people came in culture aware. We had cultural dances. We're doing that because it's Africa. That's our way. We can insist you all come in suits or business casual and words like that. No, it's a combination. If it's cultural issue, do it. Wear it. Be proud. The other thing I like to talk is that every time I hear a couple of things, people, and I use the word, just give excuses. It can't work. It doesn't work. Everything can work. The same problems you're complaining about happen outside Africa. But they don't make noise about it. They look for solutions to fix it. As project managers, we need to look for the solutions to fix it and stop complaining. It's for us to do it. So if it's one thing I want to explain to everybody here, stop giving yourself excuses. I don't care whether it's government, whether it's this or that. Stop giving yourself excuses and find that little sphere, and I love that word, that you can make a change. Everybody can make a change, one way or the other. Don't think of the big things. Oh, I think I need to live in a house, and it has to be this kind of house. If you put an umbrella over your head, that's shelter. You're doing something. Just try to do something and start it. We can all do that. So, I just want to go through a couple of housekeeping tips before I go on. We talked about the presentations and photos, just to make sure that everybody is aware of it. The presentations and photos will be available. Actually, before I came up, they told me 2 to 4 weeks. But we're an agile organization. So it's 2 weeks now. They've committed. So all the photographs and all the presentations that will be available, and they'll be available in 2 weeks. Earlier on, we talked about metrics, and you have to be able to measure yourself and see how well you performed. We want to see how well we performed at this conference. So a survey will go out, okay? And I plead on all of you to give us feedback. Good, bad, okay? Don't be shy. So please be honest on the survey. Now the survey, we want to tie it in, so you have the pictures, you have the presentations, and the survey as well. So that will go out. Does it still remain 2 to 4 weeks, or is it now 2? 2! Agility works, man. I love it. I love it. The other thing, conference day, photos and presentations. For those that have PMI certifications and know about PDUs, Once you've been scanned, you don't need to do anything about it. We have all your details. We will upload them for you, all the delegates. You get your 12.5 PDUs, depending on how you are sent. We'll do that for you. Having said that, and funny enough, I'm not using my slides. I'm just talking from my notes. It was testing your memory. So I took it away. Now I can bring it back. This, we've talked about the conference. This is a fourth conference. They all have messages. We're trying to build it up. But it doesn't just happen. It's made possible. It's very important. So there are quite a number of people, individuals, organizations that have made this conference possible. Firstly, I'd like to recognize our sponsors, Oracle. So people from Oracle present as a sponsor, please identify yourself. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Similarly, we have another sponsor, Creative PMO. Can you identify yourself and give them? I'll also there's a lot. You've seen the presentations. I've talked about how the presentations were, and they weren't linked together. We had an entire team working on reviewing presentations, selecting speakers. I'd like Mary and any member of her team to identify themselves, please. It was hard work putting it together, so let's give her another round of applause. If I step back a bit before I go further, one point that everybody needs to know here is that PMI is a volunteer-based organization. I'm a volunteer. I'm taking up my own time to give a message across, okay? Most volunteers, including Mary, and I go through others, are volunteers. It is their own time. They want to give back in one way or the other, okay? So, and I'm passionate about project management also, that they also have passion. That's why they're ready to give their time. So it is important to note that when I identify a group as volunteers, that you give them a bigger round of applause, massive round of applause, because they're giving back. Mary and her team did not work alone. I'd like to thank the members of the PMI staff, chapter development team, that assisted to make sure this whole package came together. So can you please identify yourselves? Now, this part I won't do by myself because we work as a team. So I'd like to call Anel, President of the PMI Tanzania chapter, to the stage. Thank you, Anel. Thank you. Your on-site volunteers.
Yeah, thanks, Ike. Wow. I'm out of words. What a wonderful conference. And you have all made it happen. I have been given a chance actually to thank my local team who have been working diligently with the PMI team and all the organizers for the event, wherever you are, the local volunteers, board members. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. It's a hard work, and you've made it happen. You have made it happen. included. Okay. Special thanks to our guest, Brenda. I could not do it without thanking her. It was a pleasure having you around. You have done a wonderful job. Thank you very much. You have really represented Tanzania well. We really appreciate your service to the PMI. And this is not the first time that Brenda has spoken to a PMI event. It's the second time. So we really appreciate. And I actually told her that I'm officially her servant. Whatever she wants, I'm there for you. Yeah, I'll give the mic back to Ike so that you can proceed with the event.
Thank you, Anil. We're in Yoho's country. Please stay on stage with me, please. I do that all the time. So, again, this conference wouldn't have happened. I've talked about Mary putting speakers together. This conference wouldn't have happened without the speakers. I'd like to call on Ella, who has managed the entire speaker arrangement, to give thanks to all our speakers.
All right, I've been put on the spot now. Thank you. But I have a few notes, of course. So we've had an incredible line of speakers over the last 3 days. So I just want to refresh our memory and remind us who we've heard from. So day one, who remembers day one? Sunday. Was it Sunday? What day is it today? Woo! Sunday afternoon, we all came together and we officially opened our sessions. We had the absolute honor of having Sunil. Oh, I can see you. You're here. Stand up. Come join us. I thought you'd gone. Sunil, our global president and CEO, to open us. Okay, you're coming up next. And I think Tejas has left. Am I right? Yes, okay, so a board member as well here. We were so honored to have him here and to speak to us and deliver one of our keynote addresses, as well as meeting our new leader, Otema, who's gone, right? Okay, she left yesterday evening, unfortunately, but I had a little chat with her and she sent her love to everyone. So that was the beginning, if you remember. Then we went into what? The TED Talks. Yeah, 5 amazing speakers, so varied. Who are they? I hope, are any of you still here? Kamau, Christian, Sue, Saki, or Chika? If you're here, stand up, please. Maybe, yeah. We'll clap for them anyway. They were incredible. They spoke on a range of topics, ranging from ancient architecture and design in Africa through to environmental sustainability. Remember the cows? Yeah, the cows and grassroots advancement for Africa in terms of all types of project management. I really, really enjoyed that session. That was day one. Day two, more wonderful speakers. We had 10 speakers. I only managed to see the ones in this room, but I heard the other room was excellent. I've seen pictures. So we had Kiara, Ivan, Innocent, Katalin, Mashoud, OG, Lynn, Kenneth, Brian, and I hope I get this right, Olufifun? Yeah? Yes. Stand up, please, so we can acknowledge you if you're here. You are... Thank you for your service to PMI. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. Amazing talks. And I think everything that we learned from you was about helping us to become better project managers of the future. So there's a lot of food for thought and things for us to take away. And then lastly, day 3, today, our final day of the conference, we had Brenda, the lovely Brenda. We had Werner, I think he's still here somewhere, and Juliana, who all spoke. We'll clap in a moment. They all spoke about various topics, but the common theme I took away was how we can all be better leaders. We're not just project managers, we're leaders as well. So how we can be better leaders and actually better humans. It all boils down to being better, doing better, and having an impact. So thank you. Can we please give them all a round of applause? Please stand. Yes, thank you. Oh, you're at the back. Yep. Thank you for being here and giving up your time. You're very busy people, and you've spent the day with us as well. We appreciate it. I'd just like to say as well, while I've got the mic, on behalf of On behalf of the Tanzania chapter, it's been such an honor to host you here. Asanteni sana, karibuni tena, come back and see us, and we look forward to more exciting collaborations with many, many chapters across the continent. Thank you.
It doesn't stop there. Putting an event like this together involves a lot. I like the Oracle Network Map that shows how many documents across the world and what's involved. That's something. This conference had something similar to that. Okay, there's so many parts to it. So we'll continue to thanks. I'd like to also thank our professional event organizers. If Keith can identify his team, video guys, everybody involved there. If we give them a round of applause, please. Still a number to come, and these are like special groups of people. Not that the others are not special, so I just take it back before you take it down. But delegates that took out their time to come here. I talked earlier about giving back. I talked earlier about making an impact. The fact that you've taken out time during your working days to come here, you've done something. We prefer more. I will not say that, but you've done something. Because without you guys, this conference won't be what it is. We invite you guys from the various countries across the world and Africa, and I say across the world because there are some people that are not from Africa. Okay? There are some people that are not from Africa. You've taken out your time to come here. That is helping in one way or the other, because by being here, you're helping us, and then there we can help you and help Africa go forward. So that is excellent. So I want all delegates present to stand up, and let's all give them a round of applause, please. So that was quite interesting when I said all delegates, and then chapter members were thinking, if you can sit down because I'm going to do this again, okay? So I want to keep it going, and I said volunteers, that some of us are volunteers. This conference is about 14 chapters coming together to talk and make noise about Africa. They're all volunteers. They're all from different parts of Africa. I want all volunteers here, members of the chapter boards, to stand up so we can give them a massive round of applause for their support. Come on, my chapter members, please stand. Okay, thank you. Before I round up on the aspect of thanks, I'd like to invite one other person to the stage. PMI works in conjunction with our education fund, our social good aspect. We have somebody who has a similar role for Africa here with us today. Titi Park, I'd like her to join the stage as well, please. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Ike. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to say that in bettering Africa, education is a key tool. And that's what PMI EF provides us with, free resources that we can use to leverage project management for social good. Don't forget, as Juliana said, we are incubators of excellence. Let's use project management to promote that. Thank you, Ike.
Okay, so I'm just going to say again before we round up a couple of words about the conference itself. Okay, this is our 4th conference. Every conference we've been trying to give a specific message, and we're trying to grow. There's been a journey behind the conference. So our first conference said think global, think Africa, think project management. At that time, we're still thinking about we need to make noise. We're trying to build the noise. But we wanted it to be very specific. Start thinking about Africa. When you're thinking about Africa, also think global, because we don't want to stay only in Africa. We want to be global. Don't think global, then Africa. Think Africa first, then think global, which means that we need to talk to ourselves, get things together within ourselves. First thing. And then we had messages and speakers around that specific topic. On our second conference, the first conference was held in Johannesburg, South Africa. On our second conference, which was held in Accra, Ghana, again, we're still thinking, how do we get the message out? What should we be saying? What's the key principle thing? And we said, well, some people don't really understand what project management can do, what the value of project management was. So we came up with the concept then, is achieving greater business results through project management. Always project management. We're saying that you, organizations, countries, people, you can achieve better business results through project management. We're getting that message about project management out so they can see the value. That went as well. All our conferences have gone well, similar size. All the cultural entertainment is part of it. Then in our third conference, which was held in Mauritius, isn't it? Ghana, Mauritius, yeah. So the second one was Ghana, then there's Mauritius. So Mauritius. In that one, the buzzword was sustainability. The message there was, we can't just do something and then it dies after that. We have to keep it going. So even when we're talking about project management, we're talking about how do we keep it going? How do we make sure that whatever we're imbibing in people, in process and everything, continues for a long time? And then we continue to improve it. So our message then and the concept there was project management and sustainable development. But it had a hyphen with a focus on Africa. We're not talking general. Don't tell me about what they used to do here and we don't think will apply. One of the keynote or test speakers, we're talking about how they were doing sustainability with local materials. That's the kind of thing we're trying to bring out. It was important. Throughout these conferences, different words and messages were being said, and I'll go through that later. Then we have this conference, which is our fourth, and everybody knows the message. The message is there. Throughout these 4 conferences, I've learned things like Ubuntu. What does Ubuntu mean? Collaboration. Oh, yes, we are, because we are. Extremely important. In Mauritius, I learned a song and the importance behind the song. Moyoni, Moyoni, excellent. It brought community. Huh? It's a Swahili song, but I heard it at the conference. It's important. Here, I've heard various things like, is it Jemba? Is it Gemba? Gemba. Yeah, so there's certain things are coming out, we're spreading the world. This is important. And what I'm trying to say here is that the message I'm trying to get across here is that we're trying to do things that are specific to ourselves, that focuses on ourselves. And we'll continue to make sure that this conference, and then working with PMI, makes sure it's specific and focused on what we do. So I guess the next question will be, where's our next conference? There are 54 countries in Africa, correct? How many chapters does PMI have? Ah, guys are listening, brilliant. Oh, votes. Okay. I'm trying to do an X Factor moment, but it's not working properly yet. So I would like to, yes, it will be in Lagos, Nigeria, 2020 PMI Africa Conference. I'd like to invite the president of the PMI Nigeria chapter to the stand, please. And at this point, I hand the mic over to the host chapter this year.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. Doctor, and what else? Chief Lambert Ofuegu. This is a yeah. Thank you for being here first. And this is the official handover for the conference to Nigeria chapter.
Thank you very much. We are looking forward to seeing all of you and more, and we will ever enjoy it. Thank you.
So we're about to close, but I'm going to ask one favor, okay? And part of the network, one favor, okay? There's some people here that don't know, they may not know that there's a chapter in their country. There's some people here that probably are not members of their chapter, okay? The one thing you can do, even if you want to be, is find your neighbor. Find the president of your chapter. Just have a discussion, okay? Get to know PMI in your various countries. If PMI doesn't exist in your country, look for the neighboring country. There are rules around getting a chapter. Look around your neighboring countries, join them. I'd like to see groups in our network session, at least 14 groups of all the chapters. And with other people that are not part of the chapters, joining that chapter in a group. I leave it to the presidents to say their personal experience of what they do in their specific chapters and mingle. If you're not from Africa or any other something, join a group. You have something to share, okay? You can share the message. So I want the networking opportunity out there not to be of individuals having coffee and looking around. I want it to be purposeful. I want presidents to have the opportunity to speak to you. I want members to have the opportunity to speak to themselves. Nigeria has already announced that they want to meet here. They're going to speak to them, maybe because of the conference, but they also want to speak because they're members here, okay? So it's very important that we do that. Finally, and before I close, I'd like to invite to the stage with me the CEO and President of PMI, Sunil Prashara.
Ike, well done. Thank you all. I wasn't expecting to come up on stage. I wasn't expecting to be here, actually, but plans have changed a little bit. But I'd just like to give Ike a big hand as well, because you've done an amazing job, amazing personality. Thank you for representing all the chapters. I just got a few notes which I scribbled down while I was preparing to talk up here. Here's some words that kind of like stand out for me over the last 2.5 days. And maybe you will relate to these. The first one is food. Dear to my heart. I've put on like 7 kilos since I joined. PMI, put more in is what I hear it's called. Networking. I think I saw a hell of a lot of networking over the last 2.5 days, and I've met many of you, so I really appreciate that. Learning, incredible learning. I think there's a lot the world can learn from Africa. Not just you can learn from Africa. Dancing. I can't get this Chop My Money song out of my head, right? I mean, I actually downloaded it and sent it to my wife. And I said, listen, you keep chopping my money, you know. Everyone's singing about you, you know. But, I mean, I'll tell you one thing that was amazing, right? And, you know,